Whoa. Hello.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
That's not how we normally start it, but okay.
That's how I decided to start it today.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Odd Unicorn Podcast. This is my guest, Anna, and who are you?
I'm your best friend.
Anna, you want to be my best friend? I need a new one.
No.
I'm so sad. Good answer. Yeah, so today we are talking about it's all in your head. Yeah, but first, what is the weirdest thing you believed as a kid and found out was completely wrong when you got older? That you thought, oh yeah, no, that makes sense, and then later you're like, why did I think that?
I know there was something, but I can't remember what it was. Joy?
Okay. Just speak up loud.
Why did we learn as kids that when bears hibernate, they slept all winter long? That's what I learned.
Yeah, me
that
too.
They didn't wake up all winter unless they were disturbed awake.
That's not true. They just sleep more, like people do, where it's just winter and it's depressing. So you just sleep.
I don't think I ever really thought about that, actually.
Yeah.
It was,
like none of us were taught
almost,
stuff like Santa's real or something.
No. I thought that it was the same as how toads they literally freeze.
Yeah.
And they stay alive, but they freeze for the entire winter. And I thought that bears just stayed asleep for the entire winter and never woke up.
Yeah, but that's also exactly what we were told.
Mm-hmm.
Like hundreds of people, and it's 100% not true. It's weird.
I've never really thought about it before.
Yeah, see, one thing I believed adults are perfect. I did. In my rational mind, it's like, we're getting in trouble for all this stuff, and I've never seen them get in trouble, so apparently adults are perfect, and at some point, children just when they become adults, they become perfect. Because I was like, yeah, no, my parents are perfect, and I'm just horrible, so I can't wait to be an adult and be perfect. I'm an adult now, and I'm not.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. So that was a weird thing that I believed. So you guys just immediately had adult brains and never had irrational thoughts?
Yes.
No, there's. I know there was
have a good
multiple
memory,
things for myself. It's like as soon as you say that, my brain's like, oh yeah. I don't remember what.
Yeah.
But I can think of. I know there was multiple things that as a kid I was like, oh yeah, okay.
You know, I came up with a theory of reincarnation when I was a kid, without ever knowing it existed. I was like, what if, I was literally looking at a ladybug, and I'm like, what if this ladybug was a human? And, it has a human mind, but it's a ladybug.
Freak.
And I'm like, I know, I was a weird kid.
So reincarnation was either some kid with random ideas that traveled through till its adulthood, or some drunk,
or maybe it was a ladybug in a human's body that came up with reincarnation. It's just like, yeah, no, reincarnation is real. That has to be. No other explanation. Yeah, so what we're talking about is kind of that. It's all in your head. Things that, because a lot of times we have a lot of thoughts and a lot of them are very helpful. But not all of them. There's some thoughts that make us actually less useful than if we hadn't thought it.
Yeah.
You know?
When we believe something about ourselves which is detrimental to how we act, which is kind of the it's all in your head idea or thought.
It's when you're thinking something and it's just you know?
Mm-hmm.
like having the idea about adults being perfect. That had no basis in reality. But I still thought it. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of people nowadays that still have that childish habit of just thinking something and it being true to them without looking at reality.
Yeah. I just realized something, that not only is there that, which when I brought up this idea for a podcast episode, I was thinking of people who are out there and they think, oh, this is just how it is, like, I can't do that. And looking at them like, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
That's what I thought of when thinking of the idea it's all in your head. But just now realizing also could cover irrational fears. And, different stuff like that. It's just all in your head. So
yeah.
This topic is broader than I thought it was.
It is.
But anyway.
Everything is. Yeah. The interesting things, like, I think when I was a kid, a lot of things that adults did, I thought they were a lot harder than they actually are. And because you think, oh, that's going to be so hard and it's impossible for anyone to figure that out. And people are always like, oh, yeah, this is a hard thing to do. And you're like, it's not really that hard.
Yeah.
You just do it and then it's done. But
yeah.
Yeah, like making phone calls or appointments or
yeah.
doing things like that. It's just like, just do it.
It's the hardest part about making phone calls is just doing it. Mm-hmm. It's not actually hard at all. There's an entire industry devoted to making things like that as easy as possible, so that they can make more money because it's easier to book appointments.
Oh
yeah.
Making phone calls.
No, not a phone call business. Would you like us to make phone calls for you? Call 1-800. Yeah. The worst business ever. The phone calling phone line.
Yes.
And they fax you a file of paper you have to fill out before they'll make the phone call for you. That would be like in the category of anti-business.
Probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The anti-business, the phone caller phone line.
We should make it.
We should do it.
Yes. Not put a lot of money into it, though.
Make it.
Yeah.
Not
but
much.
yeah, like what you said, that's actually a really good point, is a lot of things seem way harder than they actually are. Mm-hmm. Where you will look at this thing and you're like, oh, there's no way I'm getting that done. But if you actually start and stop thinking about it, you'll get it done a lot faster than you thought you would.
Sometimes.
Well,
but
it's true. There is some.
It does help to start it.
There is some things that are just hard.
I meant the fastness. Sometimes it takes a long time anyway, but it seems easier when you actually start to do it and you get it done.
And it's not impossible. That's the biggest thing. If someone else has already done it, it's not impossible.
Exactly.
And also, I heard this quote, wonderful quote. Everything was impossible before it was done. Yeah. Before someone made a light bulb, it was impossible to make a light bulb.
Yep. But
before someone made an airplane, it was impossible to fly.
It's never been done before it was done.
So if you think something's impossible, well, maybe try it first.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of, and that's the whole thing, is when it's all in your head, you're not trying anything. You're just thinking.
Yeah. You can't actually know if it's that hard unless you actually try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And I think there's way too many people that just think rather than do. Which, like, doing without thinking, now, yeah, that's stupid too.
That is.
There's that other side of the coin of people that are just like, I'm just gonna do it, man. Ow! How could this have happened? Okay, yeah, you put that on yourself, bro.
It's like one of those silly definitions on a shirt that I saw.
Okay, yeah.
Nurse. The first person you see after the phrase, hey, watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's 100%. That's true. Yeah, so don't just be stupid and don't think about anything. Mm-hmm. But also, I mean, maybe.
So, all right,
That's not the point of the podcast.
Yeah.
On this topic, I think we could maybe structure out today's episode. We haven't done that in a while.
It's been a little while, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe just kind of define the idea, which we've been doing a little bit already.
Yep.
Give some negative side effects, which is mostly negative. Actually, yeah, we'll give the side effects, and then we'll give maybe a way to overcome it.
Yeah, practical
Advice on the topic.
Yeah, exactly. So what is it? We did a little bit of definition, but I think the best word to encapsulate it all in one is overthinking.
That's...
And unrealistic negativity.
Yep, and not taking in enough sources or counselors.
Yeah.
Or talking it through with someone that is smarter than you sometimes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think of something and you just think about it so long and you never talk, never talk about it or you never talk about it with somebody who is actually going to help you, and you just talk about it with people that are not going to help you.
That's true.
So then you just keep it in your head and you never... Actually, once you say something, you realize how dumb it is sometimes.
That's so true.
You like think it, it's like, oh, that sounds so smart, and then you say it, and you're like,
I just did that recently. I don't remember exactly what it was. It might have been at work, but I said something like, "Oh, we should do this," or I don't remember. Like I said, I don't remember exactly. But then, as soon as I said it, I'm like, wait. That sounded really stupid. And whoever it was like, what? No, never mind. Nothing.
Didn't need to hear that.
It's like, no. I didn't say nothing. Nope. Mm-mm.
And now that I say that, I actually remember, I do that very often.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you do. There's been multiple times where you're like, we should do this. I'm like, what? And you're like, nope, never mind. No, we shouldn't.
Yeah. And there's very often also where I'll say stuff, and when I can tell, when the person's like, what'd you say? Because they couldn't hear me, I will say something completely different. Because I'm like, that is no. So I'll just say that, and they're like, that's not what you... Sometimes they'll be like, that's not what you said. That was like, sometimes it's a lot longer, like more words. Mm-hmm. And that's not what he said. Well, yeah, but that's what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. What ideas sound good in your head, but if you don't talk it through with somebody, it
especially
can turn out stupid.
Someone smarter than you. That's the good point, because there's been times where I'm thinking of something, I'm like, man, this is a great idea. And I talk to a couple people and they're like, oh yeah, I could see that. That's a good idea. And then someone that has experience with it, they're like, no. No, that's the dumbest idea on the planet.
That's like talking about, oh, I'm going to do this to my car, and I talked to you guys about it.
And we're like,
that's a good idea. Yeah. And I talked to Dad about it, and he's like, no.
Because he knows a little bit about cars. I know nothing about cars. Mm-hmm. So if I hear an idea about cars, I'll just use my imagination. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I imagine that will work.
I imagine that will be
And then your dad, who is, a certified mechanic, he'll go, no, I've seen that happen before. That's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So go to people with experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or at least some wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing that I was thinking of is like ailments that people have, or illnesses, or
mental illness.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or even sometimes perceived physical illnesses can be caused only by overthinking.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
That anemic.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who, right? That's
anemic.
the right word. Anemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone who thinks they have.
No, it's not. What is it called?
It's some other
Anemic
word.
is something about your blood, actually.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no,
I
yeah,
was
that
like,
has
yeah,
nothing
no.
to do with
See,
it.
this is where we're coming up with
that's-
things, and
That's
we don't
why
actually know.
I say it out loud. Nope.
People anorexic.
Anorexia. Yeah.
Is it?
Anorexia.
Yes.
Yes.
That don't eat. Yeah. People that
What?
don't eat. Is that
That's not what I was talking about.
Oh,
No,
what are you talking
we're
about?
trying to find the word of people who think they have a.
Oh, hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac.
Thank you.
Yes.
But people also that don't eat is also
That's true.
something that is
'cause
perceived.
It's perceived because and often it's body image because they're overthinking about how important their image is and then they just go crazy.
A lot of things that people stress about of how they look is all in their head because they perceive that others actually notice this about them when they don't.
They don't.
They don't care most of the time.
Even if they notice,
I mean,
they
don't
don't
be a
care.
slob, but
No.
other than that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's hilarious. There was a time where I was like, oh, do people notice what I wear or what I'm, it was mostly what I wear because I don't actually care about I don't work out and I don't care. But I was like, oh, do people care? And so one time I went to church wearing sneakers, just regular tennis shoes. Everyone noticed. They just didn't care.
Exactly.
They knew. They're just like, okay. He wore tennis shoes today. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's actually most people's reaction. 99% of people just don't care what you do with your life.
Yep.
And that's a very good thing to know if it's framed right. Because you're just like, oh, so I should just do what's a good idea to do rather than what other people think I should do. Because they don't actually care.
Exactly.
Yeah. But to the topic of it's all in your head. So it's overthinking. We've kind of solidified that that's pretty much what that phrase is essentially.
Yeah.
But what are the effects?
Negative mostly.
Negative. But what are some effects you can see of people when you look at somebody and be like, bro, it's all in your head. What are some effects of that? So I guess overthinking.
Not accomplishing anything is one of them.
Yes, not accomplishing anything. Second thing, paranoia and anxiety.
Fear.
Fear.
Overthinking too much. Yep.
Overthinking will cause you to be fearful often. Because the more you think about it, the more situations could be bad. Because for some reason, humans' brains automatically go to the worst. Yeah, as humans, we just go veer downhill immediately. So the more you think about it, and the less you're actually in the real world doing and trying, the more scary the world seems. It's weird. The less you experience the world, the scarier it is.
Yeah. Which is backwards of how you would assume it was if you only thought about it.
Yeah, it's like if you'd think that if you're actually in the world and seeing how bad it really is, you'd be like, oh man, this is horrible. But actually, once you're in the world, you're like, okay, so some of it's good, some of it's bad. And it's changeable, you know?
And it all is, it's experience because once you have acclimated to it or whatever, once you've gotten used to what you're doing, that doesn't seem so big or scary or
yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Like it's funny. We think the world's so big, but it's really not. Because you think about it, okay? There's 8 billion people in the world. Of those 8 billion people, we will probably only interact with people in U.S. and Canada, maybe Mexico. That cuts it down a lot. And of that, it's mostly only people that visit Wisconsin and the surrounding states. And maybe Florida.
Because for some reason, everybody goes to Florida.
Why? I've never gone and I never want to. Why is Florida so popular? I don't get it.
It's all in their head.
It's all in their head. And then of the
Florida
people...
sounds good on paper. But anyway.
It does.
There's a couple cool places.
That's true.
Alligators, though.
Honestly, have you been to Florida like
Never.
3 or 4, maybe 5 times?
Yeah,
probably.
at least 5 times.
I've never seen an alligator.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all in your
head. Exactly. And of those people, we mostly only associate with people that are Christians. Mm-hmm. That cuts it down a lot. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of those people, we mostly only associate with Christians that are Baptist. That cuts it down a ton. That's like maybe a couple million at the most that we are going to spend time with. So that's a pretty small world.
Yeah. It's interesting the thought that... What?
I don't remember where he was going with that.
She said, excuse you.
Huh? No, I didn't.
Is that what you said? You said what?
No,
go ahead.
She said something else.
I didn't know where you were going with that, so...
Is that... That's another thing that's in your head.
Okay. That the world is big? Oh, okay.
That the world is big and scary.
Oh,
and you said that, or one of you said that spending time in something like that, or going out and spending time in it, and acclimating to it really helps. And I was just thinking about the example of that is with a job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I was just going to think.
Okay.
Not gonna say.
I'll let you say it.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, before I ever got a job, well, I had a job cleaning houses, which I just got stuck in it, so it was never scary or anything because I was just used to it. And then I had to get a different job, and so it's like, oh, it's gonna be so bad. Well, honestly, I had a really easy time getting a job because I didn't even have an interview or anything. But they're just like, okay, here you go. But I went over there to see. I was like, oh, what would I be doing if I worked here, at a hardware store? And so they showed me a little bit of stuff. And then they just... I don't even remember how they told me that I got the job. I don't even know if they called me. Anyway. Or maybe they just told Dad and he came back and he's like, oh, yeah. They're gonna hire you. Or that. Yeah. Oh wait, no! I went back in, and they're just like, "Oh, can you start on this day?" I'm like, "Sure." So then, starting to do it, you're like, "I don't know what I'm doing." But as soon as you know what you're doing, and you're like, or even if you don't totally know, but you just been in it long enough that you're like, "Oh, I'm used to this." It's not scary at all.
No, no, it's comfortable. Like, and with me, I used to hate ordering. And going up.
Yeah, when you're a little kid, you think it's hard.
Yes. And even somewhat as a teenager. Because I just hardly ever did it. And then I got a job at DoorDash. Where you are going into random restaurants. And just like, hey, I'm picking up for this person. Or I need to order for this. And you just have to do it. And then all of a sudden, I picked up pizza that we were doing that when I was moving in. I was picking up pizza. And before it would be like, oh, hi, I'm here to pick up pizza. It's this pizza and this one, and it's just stutter. And I just walked up. I was just like, pick up for Terry. They're like, oh, okay. Hand me the pizza. I walk out. I was like, whoa, it was that easy the whole time. Yeah. And now it's just talking to people. Because I'm extroverted, but I used to be very shy. And I still am awkward. And that used to make me shy. But then when I realized, I'm like, once I stopped caring, so stop overthinking it, I was just like, I'm just going to say hi and see what happens. That is my strategy with conversations. Say hi and see what happens.
Because I sometimes try to think about things and say to people, and I can never think of something, and I'm like, I wonder what would happen if I just went up to them and just said hi. And usually for me, that's a little bit easier to just not think about something before I go up to them. Just go see what they say and then think of something to say.
Exactly.
But yeah, also with having a job, that has helped me a lot because I have to interact with people.
Yes.
And I was horrible at just talking to people. I'm not that good at it still, but I've gotten a lot better than I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Like random strangers, just having interaction with them at all.
And now what used to be scary before, where it's just like, oh, please don't make me talk to a stranger. Now it's just like, whatever. It's fine.
Or it's the same with going up and ordering things where we never wanted to do it, but Dad would make us go inside when we were little. And he would make us tell them what we wanted, which I was very, very indecisive, which I still sort of am, but
yeah,
I took forever to decide what I wanted. But then, anyway, that's irrelevant. I don't know why. Anyway, so he would make us go tell him what we wanted, and then you had to get over your fear of talking to the teller because they don't really care.
No.
You think, oh, what if I tell them the wrong thing that I want? And they're just like, whatever.
They don't get paid enough to care.
Exactly.
If you tell them the wrong thing, you're like, oh, I need something else. Or like, you're the 70th, you're the 70th, 100th person that day to change their order.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, they don't care. And so, I heard, there was this quote I heard, and it was interesting. It was, when you are a teenager, you think everybody is talking about you, and everybody cares. And then you get older, and you realize nobody really cared. And then you get even older, and you realize no one was really talking about you. It's like, interesting. So, and that was actually one thing we said in... So this is actually being recorded after next week's podcast. Yes. It's weird how that's working. But in next week's podcast, we're going to talk a lot about just kind of, if you want to do something, just do it. And part of that is not overthinking. It's not caring what other people think and just doing it. Because otherwise, you'll be in constant fear of what other people's opinion is. And that is all in your head because their opinion has no bearing on your life. I think for me as a people pleaser, that's something I have to deal with. Because I'm like, oh no, what are they going to say? And it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of interesting how it seems to be that apathy is one of the biggest fixes for overthinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, apathy is not the greatest thing out there.
Well, in certain situations, it's a bad idea.
Yeah. And so it's often enough that you hear, that when you just don't care, that's not really a good view on life. And I kind of agree.
Yeah, I agree.
Even being an apathetic person.
Exactly.
But it just in the thought of the topic of it's all in your head, it's just stop caring. Stop.
Yeah.
Care about others, not what they're thinking of you.
Yeah. Because when you care about what they're thinking of you, it's just selfish. It's not actually caring about them. It's caring about...
It's caring about you.
It's caring about your perception to other people.
How do I look? Is everybody going to be nice to me? Are they
Yeah.
going to treat me good because I look a certain way or do a certain thing? But
And at the end of the day, that's just to serve you. So if you think you're being gracious for being a people pleaser, you're not. You'd be doing people a favor if you just lived...
Yeah. Honestly, that's one of my... Not necessarily just people pleaser, but people that tell you whatever they think you want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't tell you, or they don't be honest with you, maybe because they're afraid of what you'll say about it, or they just want everybody to be calm and have peace
and everyone get along.
Everyone get along, but it never really solves the problem.
No.
Because
it doesn't.
You only know what they want you to hear and what they think you want to hear.
Yeah.
Or if you do the same thing, then it's you only say what you think they want to hear, then no one ever gets anywhere.
Well, see, if I would have only heard what I wanted to hear, I would currently be trying to be a magician, which is the worst idea ever. Especially for me. It was TJ who I never got along with. He told me, he says, that's the dumbest thing ever. I was like, no, it's not. Mm-hmm. And everyone else who wanted to be nice to me because I was, a nice kid because I cared what other people thought. Everyone else is just like, oh yeah, that's cool. You can be a magician. It's like, you can be whatever you want to be. And teacher's like, no, don't. I was like, no, you're just being mean. And then when I got a little bit more mature and I actually thought about it, I'm like, I would be away from my family every weekend, most of the week, traveling around the country, making ends meet. I don't want to do that. Yeah. He was right. And since then, people like TJ and others, you're also brutally honest. You tell me when I'm stupid sometimes. In fact, I think you just enjoy it. I don't even know if you do it to help me.
I usually do it to help people, but I don't do very good at making it sound that way.
No, but...
sometimes I enjoy it, though.
It's true. People like that are very helpful to have because people that don't really care about your feelings and are just going to be like, hey, you're stupid, stop. It's like, oh, okay, that's fair. I've learned to
people don't usually take it very well at first.
No.
Some people never take it well.
I've learned to take it well only because I realize I'm like, okay, that's actually what's going to help me. Whereas the 100 people that just agree with me with whatever stupid thing I decide to do that week, not going to help me much. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I've learned maybe listen to people, even people that don't like you. Because they're not afraid of hurting your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that viewpoint of it's all in your head, of it's overthinking it, you're self-conscious and stuff like that. It's just all in your head. But then there's also the viewpoint of not feeling like you can't do something like, for example, I've seen people that maybe have a hard time getting around. They have a hard time with walking around and just doing stuff in general. And looking at those people, I see, I look at them and just be like, why aren't they... Why are they having an issue with this?
You wonder sometimes, could that be that they're not... sometimes when people are very, very sick and they say they have a will to live, and they are much more likely to recover than those who just give up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if people who have an ailment or literally something that they feel like they can't do because either it causes them pain or
it just wears them out or
makes
something.
them tired or something, if they really had a will to do it, if they could,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, these people, I look at them now, but also look at who they were, and the fact of these people used to be okay. There's one person I'm thinking in particular. He's an older person. He's not old, but just older. And when he was younger, I'd say in his 40s. I don't know exact age, but one of his cousins had a big barbell type thing and was doing lifts with it. So pick it up off the floor, bring it up to his waist, and lift it above his head. And so he's doing it and picked it up, brought it up, and was able to get it above his head maybe once or twice. And wow, yeah, good achievement. It was a good heavy weight. And then this guy that I'm thinking of came up, grabbed it, easily brought it up to his chest, and just 5-10 times over his head, and set it back down. And it was fine.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just who he was as a younger person. But then also his sons are very, very much just like that as well. Very but anyway, but now he's older, like I said. He's a bit overweight, and he's had a couple kind of health issues or stuff, and it's harder for him for some other things, but at the same time it kind of just looks like he's got the mindset of, well, I'm old now, it doesn't work anymore, so I just can't. He has a hard time walking. He has a tendency to kind of like limp a bit while he walks, and sometimes walks with a cane. But looking at him, like, yeah, I can see how maybe it's hard to walk now, but if you put some effort into it, for that person, it would actually be very easy. For them
even
to
still
easily get around, and and so thoughts of stuff like that. When I see people like that, it's like, bro, it's all in your head. Just
it is.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm trying to get at with that's
the other side to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and how do we what do we come at on that side of things?
See, that one's harder.
It is, yes.
Because it's people that their brains have tricked them.
Yes.
Literally. It's more than just overthinking. It's their brain has tricked them into believing.
Yeah.
That
it's amazing what, if you believe something, even if it's totally not true, your brain will tell you that it is true. Completely true.
And your brain will adapt to make it true.
Yep.
And it's so it is true that, like, if you don't think you're gonna do good at something, you've already failed.
You've already decided that you won't do good.
Yep, and there's no way to do good at something. If you say, I'm gonna do really good at this, you'll at least do decent. You know, it's like,
or even if you fail, you'll be like, oh, I tried my best.
I tried and I learned.
Yeah.
For example, one thing that my dad taught me when I was in my younger teens, he said, when you say I cannot, when you say I can't or I cannot do whatever, it literally shuts off the function in your brain to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And when you have something that you're like, oh, I just can't do that, like walking well, or sometimes you hurt yourself, like sprain an ankle or just twist an ankle, not necessarily sprain it. You don't have any medical injuries, it just hurts to walk on it. Or you pulled it and it's not gonna be a lasting pain. Sometimes people baby it so much that it never strengthens back up. It never really gets stronger. It gets actually weaker because they're babying it. When if you hurt it, like before, I rolled it pretty good one time and I just started walking around and I was like, whoa, it doesn't hurt anymore, because I had to walk. And it was really super weird, because I was like, it literally was within an hour, it was like, wow, doesn't hurt. And I was like, how does that work? But obviously some are worse than others.
You even see it with kids, where one kid, he'll trip and skid his knee a little bit and start crying and bawling and go to his mom, and his mom will go, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And another kid, he'll go, wham, smash.
Yeah.
And just like, I saw, there's a video, kid, he literally has like a gouge in the side of his face. It's like this, like 7 7-year-old kid, and he just a gouge, and there's like some, it looked pretty bad. He's like, where'd you get that from? He's like, oh, I fell off my dirt bike. It's like, what? He's like, oh yeah. He just keeps playing.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah.
I had something very similar to that when I was younger. I was like 6, 7, I don't know. Twisted my ankle a little bit, nothing major. But I babied it. Well, because of that, ended up walking with a limp. And my dad would get on me constantly, like, stop doing that. You're walking with a limp, stop doing that, walk straight. And I didn't even realize it. When he started getting on me about it, he's like, come on, walk straight. At first, it did hurt. And so it actually hurt to walk normal. And so he'd be like, walk normal, walk straight. And then later, once it didn't hurt anymore, my brain was still just I had gotten used to walking without a bit of a limp, and so, but it's just interesting to see how it's just all in your head. I've got a bit of a limp. Why?
Because you don't need to limp anymore.
Because it hurts? Or no, it doesn't anymore.
Yeah. People who have ghost injuries of a limb that has been...
phantom
it's gone
pain.
now, or for some reason or other. Yeah, and they literally feel pain, but it's just their brain, like, lying to them. Like, yeah, you have pain, but no, so they don't.
Your brain can do stuff without your consent.
That's why when you make the decision to ignore your brain and do it anyways, sometimes it's very difficult, but you teach your brain, no, that's not the truth because it's lying to you. So basically you're like, I have to retrain my brain to say, no, that's not how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot something.
Well, like with irrational fears, I have to do that. Because I'm scared of snakes. And it's that irrational, my brain's just like, no, you will die if you touch it. And so, like, now, anytime there's a snake, I'm just like, all right, you got to go pick it up or hold it, or, at least someone has, like, it was one day at camp, and they're like, oh, we found a snake. It was one of the kids there, and I was just like, oh, cool, can I hold it? And I held it, and I was a little bit, like, freaked out. But I was just like, I got to do it, and so... It's a big thing, and again, doing it starts overcoming your brain, just like overthinking. Where experience,
and people like Dad, who will just tell you, it's just your brain lying to you. By the way, that is where you need people like that, because sometimes you don't even realize it.
Yeah,
and you need someone to tell you, and it doesn't feel good usually.
No,
but
no, you think like they're calling you a liar or something. Yeah. But really,
it's like,
they just
really they're just helping you, and that's I don't know where I heard it from, but somebody was saying you literally have all the flexibility or strength or whatever that you will use, or that you actually use.
Yeah.
All that you need. So if you don't use it, you're not going to have it.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
want to be able to touch your toes, if you never ever touch your toes and you're just like, I want to touch my toes. But if you're constantly bending down to pick things up and you just eventually straighten your legs and touch your toes, well, there you go. That's have it because 100% you use
true. Because
or you do it because exercising is hard to keep a routine. So if it's something that you do all the time, like some people can't squat down. Well, somebody that squats down for their job every day,
they can do it.
Why can't you? Well, because you never do it. And you lose that skill because one day you just stopped doing it.
That's 100% true. Because, I never had good grip. And I didn't, but also I didn't ever work out. And I never really had muscles because also I didn't work out. And I really don't care because I don't really think it's that important. But when I got the job at Northwood, it was really hard for the first couple months. And then wearing, with the leather gloves, you have to really grip the board to pull it. All of a sudden, I have some strength because I actually used it. I actually was using my muscles, and so my muscles just we gotta do more.
Step up.
Step it up.
Yeah.
And so... don't wait till you're ready to do it. I saw this guy who's doing a YouTube, he just did one full video. He was just a YouTuber about his opinion and his advice for people that want to do YouTube. He said, if you are waiting to get the right equipment and the right gadgets to start your YouTube channel, quit. That's it. You can't do it. Because if you actually want to start, you'll start with whatever you have.
Yep.
He said, you're watching this on a smartphone, which means you can start a YouTube channel. So if you're not starting it yet, then quit. That's it.
Yep.
You're done. And that was why I started. I started, without hardly anything. I had a iPhone 8. That was the first camera. It was garbage.
Yeah.
But...
how much time have
44 minutes.
I was just realizing, like, it's been a while and I can't see the timer.
Yeah.
Don't want to drag this out too long. But anyway.
So yeah, the negative effects, the biggest negative effects, is there will be so much that you won't accomplish.
Or you physically won't be able to do because you just believe you can't.
Yeah.
There's going to be so much that you just can't do because you think you can't do it.
Like, okay, not to brag, but
okay,
it was
cool.
just random thing. I was like, I picked up my sister one time, just like grabbed her around the waist, picked her up. I was like, I wonder if I can pick up my dad. So I just tried, and I did. And I was like, oh.
I didn't know I could do that.
I didn't know I could do that. But if I never tried, if I had worked up to it, and maybe I could have. But that's like people that when they're in some crazy situation, they have to move this massive thing that no human should be able to move.
Yes.
And they do it because they have this, their brain is like, you have to do it.
Yes.
And they believe they can because that's their only option. Then they do it.
Yeah, that's one thing. One thing that helps you accomplish things is burning bridges. Where you have to do it. There's no or else.
There's no option.
There's there's no plan B. Like, I moved out, which means I have to support myself. There's no plan B. I'm out. I'm in an apartment. I have to make money. I have to support myself. And that is something I actually wanted to do for a while because I'm a very dependent person. Very bad at being independent. So it's like, I need to move out so that I can just force myself to be independent. And I did, and I'm like, I gotta make money. I gotta... Yeah.
Something kind of along those lines also, my job that I have, the new job I started, we every Tuesday and Thursday we do paint shop. So there's a big conveyor on the ceiling. Well, it's a chain with pieces hanging down, we hang hooks on those, and then we hang up pieces of machinery that need painted. So it's really cool. They go through this big wash and dry system. Gets them all cleaned up, and then they go through a powder coating, and then they get the paint is a powder coating, and then it goes through an oven, a big oven at like 400 degrees, and it's a really nice glossy paint. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so Tuesday we were doing that, and one of my coworkers who was helping, he's also another new guy. Or maybe it was Thursday that I was noticing this, but he's about my age, probably a little bit younger. He's my height, but he's definitely built. He definitely goes to the gym, and you can tell.
Yeah.
He kind of walks. He's definitely.
He walks like a gym bro.
Yeah, he's definitely got the gym bro walk, and
he's
got the muscles.
That sunglasses model vibe.
Yeah, he's got the muscles to show that he does work out and whatever. But working with him is definitely interesting because he'll go up, he'll pull this piece off, back up a little bit. I go up, grab this piece, and this piece is probably a good 40 pounds. I'm grabbing it about head height, have to lift it up 3-4 inches to get off the hook it's on, carry it over, and bend way down and set it essentially at ground level in the crate.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going back and forth and doing this, setting them. Then I ended up switching out with the guy. What we were doing is we were putting a little piece of foam between the metal pieces so they're not rubbing. This was for, it was a contract for a different customer.
Okay, yeah.
So these weren't Pat's pieces. These were pieces of machinery for somebody else.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so going back and forth, and I switched out with one of my other coworkers, and so I was watching the other coworker bring pieces and putting the foam down, but I was also watching him. And so he grabbed the piece, had a bit of a struggle to get it up and pull it off, and then he's just like, walks over, Brain starts bending down, and almost fell into the crate. And and every time he would bring it over, he'd be like, oh. When he picked it up, instead of holding it about chest height, he'd always bring it down to a more relaxed height of like around waist, and like lug it over there, and then when he bring it over, kind of lift it over the edge of the crate, be like, oh, and I'm like, dude, look at you, and
yeah.
I can work almost twice as fast as he can, and he's got to stop every 3 pieces to take a breather, maybe grab a drink, and I was like, it's just interesting.
Oh my goodness!
That looking at him, if he would just put his mind to it, he could easily do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, easily.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
and it also does come down to what you have done in your life, because we've always had to carry wood, or we move furniture, or stupid things like that. So we have to do things that we didn't want to.
So you actually use
They're
your
like
muscles.
Useful muscles, where gym
muscles are show muscles.
They're used, but only for certain activities, and so they're different. But yeah, you have muscles there that could be used, but if you put your mind to it, you just... And maybe it'll take them a while to
I definitely
get used
agree,
to it, but yeah.
But also
sometimes you're not going to do things well until you do it, but once you start doing it, then you will get better at it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But at the same time, with this specifically, it's you're using these muscles.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so you're like specifically using like curling muscles.
Yeah.
Essentially. And then also, you could just tell by watching him, he was struggling with the weight of the stuff. Whereas I'm walking up, grabbing it, and then bringing it to one hand to set it in the crate.
It's like, it's so true.
If he would just decide, oh, this is not that hard.
He's just like, let's just do this. Let's just hurry up. And he could probably easily
I think he
go
could,
faster than you.
Looking at him, probably could. I don't know.
If he tried.
Yeah, because I don't have very well toned muscles or whatever, but I have a lot of strength just from experience of doing a lot of heavy lifting type work.
Yeah.
And so, but still, it was just
hilarious.
Yeah, it was just really interesting to see that.
And I think that's interesting as well for like if you get old and you can't bend down anymore or things like that, because one day it hurt to bend down, and so you stop. This is what I've observed, but I'm not sure because clearly I'm not that old. But
you're pretty old, though.
I know, but not that old.
Okay.
Anyway, what I've observed is one day they just stop because it hurts, and maybe they try again a few times, but they're like, oh no, it hurts too bad. Whereas if they had kept going, maybe it hurt for a while, but eventually the pain would become more bearable, or they would be able to still do it at least somewhat.
Speaking of people that don't let their age get in the way. There was one guy who embarrasses me every time I work with him. He was a guy in Florence. He goes to a Lutheran church, and his name is Mr. Johnson. He would work about twice as fast as me. I was 15. He was 80.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he would just start going. He didn't seem like he was going fast. He was pretty laid back. But he'd pick it up, put it in the car. He just taking stuff like we're setting up T-posts, and he was just like, he just grab it, bam, 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 done. Next, and he just keeps going, and he just keeps going. He doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And it's always so embarrassing working with him because I'm like, this 80-year-old man is beating me by far, and so that just shows. People like him or people like Mrs. Agar shows you that your age doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have
to. Now, there are certain people that they physically cannot.
Yeah.
But your age does not have to.
Yeah.
Or your strength or ability does not have to dictate what you can do.
You just adapt.
You just do it and say, okay, you're going to do this now, brain. We're going to do it.
Now, just take
You may struggle.
Of course. Just take this as opinion. We are not the foremost advice for old people.
We have no clue.
We have respect for you guys. We're just using that as an illustration. And we have seen it.
There may be old people watching
Oh. Oh no, we got on a couple of naughty lists.
Who have overcome their struggles, or they just continue to do it.
Yeah, they just keep
regardless.
Going.
But yeah,
and
I'm sure it's not the same for everyone, but
yeah, and to a point, there is physical limitations.
Yep. But sometimes there's more physical limitations than necessary. Perhaps you have one physical limitation, but it shouldn't stop you from doing everything.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So
the topic of it's all in your head.
Yeah.
It's all in your head.
I was thinking of a verse that kind of goes with this. It's I should look it up so I don't misquote it.
Yeah.
We should just sit here silently and awkwardly.
We should.
Wait, just stare at her.
Okay. Okay. 1 Corinthians 10:5, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
Yeah.
And having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yep.
That, yeah.
It's very interesting because when your thoughts, maybe it's not even a physical thing, but your thoughts are just constantly going, or you're so negative all the time, or many other things that you could be thinking that you don't want to think maybe, but it's just your brain, you're like, I can't help it. I can't help but thinking it. That's the same as the physical. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, through Christ, obviously, because you're not going to have a good time stopping yourself. Maybe you can sometimes, but through him, you can bring every thought into obedience because he said you can do it, and just to cast down imaginations. And that's another verse, let not your heart be troubled.
Yeah.
It's you're in charge of it, because what you decide is what your heart is going to do. What you don't decide is what your heart is going to do. Or brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's true. You have way more control than you think you do. This is not a life of random chance. It is absolutely a life of cause and effect.
Yes.
What you do has a consequence. It's not just what happens. It's the que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Can't change it. We'll just keep going. No.
Yep.
You have the ability to make your own decision. You have the freedom. Use it.
Yep. And it doesn't say, oh, just let your thoughts
roam.
You might have struggle with it, and sometimes they'll be better, and sometimes no. It says casting down imaginations.
Yeah.
And bringing into captivity. That means you have a choice
Mm-hmm.
about what your imagination is doing, or your fear, or worry, or stress.
When you bring something into captivity, you have the control over it.
Mm-hmm.
Against the knowledge of God. So that means when maybe you need to learn a Bible verse that can help you with it, and when you start thinking about it, you instead say, no, that's not what we're thinking about.
Well, yeah.
And then you think about a Bible verse because you need something else to fill in your brain.
Yes.
And to this, thinking, oh, I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, we can do all things through Christ. I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me.
Yep, exactly.
So that is taking into captive a thought that goes against the knowledge of God.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
I
just thought of one thing that somebody told me.
Okay, go ahead.
They're saying, oh, you got to stand up straight, else you'll never be able to stand up straight. Or they weren't telling me, they were just talking to someone else. I was eavesdropping. Anyway, but I was part of the conversation to someone. And it's literally, the only point of using that muscle is so that you can do that thing. The only point of standing up straight is so that you can stand up straight.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that. And it's like, the only point of doing it is so that you can. Because if you don't do it, you can't.
Yeah, so that wasn't actually true. Because if you are to the point where you're slouched, you can stand up straight again later.
Mm-hmm.
You can correct your posture.
Right.
If you have a bad habit in your life, you can correct it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something you're not able to do, you can learn how to do it.
Exactly.
You can decide to do it.
But you have to decide to do it and then do it. Otherwise, you'll never be able to if you don't decide that you're going to do it.
Yeah. And you can do basically anything unless you don't think you can. Then you can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do something, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Let's see here.
Yep.
Last episode, which is gonna come out next week, I already asked you how this week has been.
So
So
I'll have to ask a different question today.
what question should I ask?
Well, we usually end by what's making you happy.
Oh yeah. Is there anything else? Then we have to come up
That's
with
what
something
you-
else.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
what
but
we
you
usually
can
have
just
done.
what's making you happy? What are you grateful for?
What am I grateful for? Well,
Just
the
in the
tent,
recent
the tent meetings
past.
were really good. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed them.
Yeah?
It was really nice. And then, I don't know. There's lots of things, but I really like my job, which is nice.
That's
And-
good.
I just today got a new air filter for my car. Or not, I put it on though.
Oh, nice, nice.
So, yeah, I like
You like your
my
car?
car.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for it.
I like your
honestly.
car too.
I don't think, there's no way. I also got the ball joints fixed last week.
Oh, nice.
Or this week. So then
That sounds
the wheels don't wobble when you're driving. It's much better and it's not so dangerous.
Yeah.
But, yep, so I'm really grateful for that and for God just providing everything that I need to
Yeah, that
pay
was-
for them and stuff.
that was really cool how God provided the car.
Mm-hmm.
Just
For those
For
of
no
you
reason.
that don't know, she was able to get a 2005 Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
It's black. The previous owner hyped it up a bit.
A little bit.
It's
Yeah.
pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
$5,000.
Yeah.
That's not
5,200.
bad.
So
Yeah, that's
it was a steal.
and that
honestly.
was
that guy was
during
super nice.
that was during like
Let's-
the inflation
Yes,
of car
during
prices.
the inflation, maybe a tad bit before, but
Yeah.
it was still going up at that point.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's just say that car, with how good of shape it's in, and everything that the guy did to it, there's no way I should have gotten it, but
Mhm.
God did it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
and to have been looking for a car at that point of time and actually find it and see
Yeah.
it because, I wouldn't have.
It could have easily gone off the market before you
Did
even
your
saw
dad
it.
find it on eBay?
Yeah,
That's the weirdest place to buy a car.
it's probably a bad place to buy a car.
It's
I wouldn't recommend, but
Well, actually, no. They
I don't know.
created like an eBay motor.
That's true, they did
division.
do that now,
They
so
actually started.
be careful when you're
okay.
buying cars.
Instead
on
of it
But-
just being a scam, it's less
Yes,
less likely
exactly.
to be a scam than it used to be.
Yeah, he saw quite a few on there that he's like, that's a scam, that's a scam.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. So,
But then again, half of them on Facebook Marketplace are also scams.
exactly.
Mhm.
So, it's,
Yeah. Just
So
don't get scammed.
That's still
yes,
pretty good. That
I
was-
know. Every time I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's
Wow.
cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And it's always good to, if you have something in your life, don't be just like, oh, I take it for granted. Just say, wow,
Mm-hmm.
God is good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's something else that's making you happy?
It's okay. It kind of comes back to my job again. So
'Kay.
next week it'll be my job again. Because
Yes.
we already recorded that
Twice
episode.
in a row.
But this is something I was just now thinking about. I look forward to going to work in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
I know.
It's been probably at least 3 years since I looked forward to going to work in the morning, or maybe not quite that long, because when I started at Northwood, I did look forward to going to work in the mornings, but
For a
then-
little while.
Yeah, only for a little bit, and then it's like, okay, this is boring. But yeah, I look forward to going to work in the mornings. It's been really cool. It's just
Wow.
the different pace, the different stuff going on.
More of a variety.
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
It's really nice.
Okay, I have a really cool one that I was going to say in the last one, and I didn't, and I forgot. So the
that
viewers
works.
get it a week early.
It would be funnier if you just didn't tell him that it was, like, I'm pretty sure you're probably wearing the same clothes, but
Oh, I changed my shirt.
Oh, cool.
Actually.
Oh, I didn't. I should have.
Well,
You should have.
I did for other reasons.
Or they could just assume that you never wash your clothes. But
I mean, true.
anyway, it would have been funnier if you just didn't tell them that it was like after the next week one, and they'd be like, "How'd you know exactly what you're talking about?"
How are you a future?
How'd you know?
How did you predict the future? But then again, it also can work in reverse because we can just hear what we said and just say it.
Not for next week.
Yeah.
Or, we could,
or for
like,
the week
this
after next week.
Next week we talked about.
Oh,
and then next
yeah.
week could be like, okay, what did we say?
Oh, that's true. That's right.
That would have
Okay.
been a lot more
if you
work,
listen
though.
to that, that would have been
Way
harder.
too
Yeah.
much.
Creating an entire,
How you fill that in,
like
to
a
what we're
background
saying.
for your script
Yeah.
before you write your script.
Exactly. Anyway, sorry, that was
Anyway,
very
go ahead.
distracting.
I was only able to make 2 tent meetings, which is sad, but
You lazy bum.
it was because I wasn't being a lazy bum that I couldn't make Friday. On Thursday, I was here, and I was sitting with Felicity, and without I wasn't prompting at all, but the message was on salvation, and Felicity got saved.
Oh, I thought I heard something about
Yeah?
that. I didn't know for sure, but
I wasn't sure exactly. I heard her praying something like that. Yeah.
You said that.
Huh?
The last podcast, you already said that.
you did say
when?
that.
The last podcast.
During
So next
when?
Next
Thursday
The live
night.
stream? Oh, did I
Oh.
say that? That's right, because it happened after that. Well,
Yeah,
tell you
it
what.
was before that episode.
So I already said that. I'm just really excited about it. So I'm still thinking about it.
That's good because she always is like, "Oh yeah, I prayed, I'm saved." I'm like, "Are you though?" And so in Sunday school, we'd always be talking about it. She's like, "I might need to get saved." No, I'm saved. You're just like, but,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
So I think she actually understood
Yep.
and actually got saved.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool. What else? I don't know. I don't
That's
have.
it.
I'm gonna be doing Air Venture, and that's gonna
Yeah.
be really cool. I'm also gonna be getting up at 5:30, and that's gonna be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I will. When we come back for the podcast, I will hopefully be recovered by then.
It should be.
Yeah. I'll have 2
Don't worry,
weeks.
you'll recover better from getting up that early in the morning than you will from staying up super late at night.
I've been doing that for
True.
like 2 or 3 months.
I know, but still.
It's also true.
All right.
Well,
Well,
some people won't, but anyway,
that's true.
it's still technically better for you.
Technically, I've grown up in a family where we always are. Oh,
It's not
that's
gonna do it
weird.
anymore.
Your fingers are
pop.
very poppy.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Anyway,
Anyway, I'm gonna close this out. This is our second to last episode. Next week is the finale,
Finale.
the season finale, and then we're taking 1 month, taking a break in the month of August, and then September we will be back. Don't know how, don't know when, don't know where. Well, actually,
Well,
if at all possible, it'll still be on Tuesdays at 7. Just don't know where or how.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.